In today's video, I want to go over the confirmation of a huge Japanese RPG on the PlayStation 4, and now we know that it will be coming to the West. Of course, I am talking about Persona 5 Royal, one game that we've been waiting quite a while on to hear more about it. We know that it's coming in Japan later this year, I believe on October 31st, but it's been kept under a little bit of secrecy as to when the game was coming stateside. Well, now we at least have a window. Also, Dying Light 2 gameplay is going to be publicly revealed at the end of this month. I personally am very excited for that game. I thought Dying Light 1 was a tremendous game, released pretty early on in this generation, so I think a lot of people forgot about it, but it was a great game, so I'll talk that. And I also want to talk the reveal of two brand new PlayStation 4 games. The arcade-style arena first-person shooter in Demon Pit has been announced, as well as the adventure game in Unlucky 7. We'll talk that at the end of this video, but first up, it was confirmed that Persona 5 Royal will launch for the PlayStation 4 in the Americas and Europe in spring 2020. Atlus officially announced the information at the Atlas Art Exhibit 2019 Persona 5 Royal and Catherine Full Body Showcase. That was held at Gallery Nucleus in Alhambra, California. In Japan, the game is due out for PlayStation 4 on October 31st, so we are getting it a little bit delayed over here in the States, but given that we saw a similar delay for Persona 5, the base game, I don't think that's all too surprising. I'm just excited to finally know that Persona 5 Royal will be coming stateside, and we now have a window as far as when we can expect to play the game, and spring 2020 is looking insane in terms of game releases. If you guys think fall is looking packed, and fall isn't as crazy as some of the previous falls. I mean, there are a lot of big games, but I would say that this fall is a little bit of a drop-off compared to previous years. However, that is more than made up for when you look at early 2020. You got Final Fantasy VII Remake, Watch Dogs Legion, Persona 5 Royal, Cyberpunk 2077, The Last of Us Part 2 is probably going to come around that same time. It is going to be absolutely insane. However, let's just keep the talk to Persona 5 Royal for now. Of course, this is much similar to what Persona did with Persona 3 FES and Persona 4 Golden, in that it's going to add a bunch of content, but when you take a look at Persona 5 Royal, it looks to be an even bigger enhancement compared to that of FES and Golden. And FES particularly was a pretty big enhancement. That added like 30 hours of content, but with Royal, you've got a bunch of new characters, you've got new story scenarios, and a lot of content is just being added. We have an idea of what to expect, and I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole again because there's so much to go over in terms of all of the content they're adding. I've talked quite a bit about Persona 5 Royal in previous videos, so if you want to dig those videos up, by all means, check them out. But now it's just exciting to hear that the game will be dropping in spring 2020. However, if this is coming out around March, April time, like I mentioned, Final Fantasy VII Remake is out right around the same time. That is two massive JRPGs, and I believe both games are going to be a pretty big undertaking in terms of time investment, so it's going to be interesting to see how both games do. I think both games are going to do relatively well. Of course, FF7 Remake is in another stratosphere when you talk about marketability and cachet in the gaming audience. Persona 5 Royal, as much content as it is adding, as well as Persona 5 was received, it is a re-release at the end of the day, and Persona is just not as big as Final Fantasy, especially when you take into account a game as iconic as Final Fantasy VII. But nonetheless, I expect Persona 5 Royal to do very well from a commercial standpoint, and I'm excited to check out the game come spring 2020. Alright, moving on from that, another game that I'm very much excited to check out in early 2020 is Dying Light 2, so throw that to the pile of games that are coming out in early 2020. Dying Light 2 is one of those games that I'm personally probably a little bit more excited than most people, because I did play the first Dying Light, I did play Dying Light following the Enhanced Edition, and that game was so good, but it did come out relatively early on in this generation, I believe back in 2015, January of 2015, if my memory serves me correctly. So at this point in 2019 going into 2020, it is a little bit old. A lot of you guys probably picked up your PlayStation after the release of Dying Light, and it's not like when Dying Light was released, it was this massive game release where people are gonna go back and check it out, but I always recommend to do so. However, in the case of Dying Light 2, it does look to be a significant improvement upon every element of the first Dying Light, and Dying Light 2 is gonna get an official gameplay demo revealed. The Dying Light Twitter account put out, "The time has come to show you Dying Light 2 official gameplay demo. Join us on a special stream on August 26th at 8 p.m. CEST, 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern." While it wasn't confirmed what is going to be shown off at the live stream, there was a behind closed doors demo earlier this summer at E3. Typically speaking, whenever they do these behind closed doors demo for a game that's not all too far out, those demos eventually make their way to the public, and I imagine that's what they're going to show off as far as this Dying Light 2 demo is concerned. As I mentioned, Dying Light 2 from a development standpoint looks to be a significant leap up from Dying Light 1. While it is on the same platform, visually it looks better, but really, the improvements come from a content standpoint. A lot more decision making, a lot more options in the gameplay. So I'm definitely excited to see how this one turns out as well, and it'll be interesting to see. Yes, it's coming out on current generation platforms for now, but Dying Light is definitely a game you can accentuate its technical prowess by releasing it on next generation platforms, be it the PlayStation 5, next Xbox, whatever the case may be. So that is something interesting to keep your eyes on as well. Maybe for some people, if you are packed with game releases coming out around the same time, Dying Light 2 is a game you skip on for a little bit and see if it does get a next generation port, maybe with some updates and DLC thrown on there. I mean, they did release Dying Light 1 in the form of the following Enhanced Edition, so could at some point Dying Light 2 get something similar? I don't know, I'm just speculating. That is my 2 cents, but Dying Light 2 is set to release on PlayStation 4 sometime in the first half of 2020, and again, adding to that pack lineup early next year. Alright, lastly, I do want to quickly note 2 new games that have been revealed for the PlayStation 4. The arcade-style arena first-person shooter in Demon Pit is coming to the PS4 later in 2019. This is a game that is going to see a lot of resemblances to 90s first-person shooters, whether it be Doom or the old Wolfenstein games. Doom Pit is described as an intense arcade-style arena shooter with a classic 90s FPS aesthetic. Test your reflexes against the endless waves of the demon horde in a constantly changing arena. Your goal is a high score on the leaderboard. The price is your soul. Far from God's light, there is only hell. The game touts 10 types of hideous hellspawn, repel the demon horde with 7 varied weapons, use your soul grapple to traverse the area quickly and avoid the oncoming legion, master movement to survive the changing environments and its hazards, constantly kill to keep your multiplier alive, and compete for leaderboard immortality. Again, Demon Pit is scheduled for a release by the end of the year. It's going to be interesting to see how they price this game at, because based on the description, it doesn't seem like this game is absolutely packed with content, so anything more than, say, $19.99 I think would be a little bit too much. Ideally, I would like to see a $9.99 or a $14.99 price point, but it seems like at this point, $9.99 price points for new game releases is something we don't see anymore, even for lower key downloadable titles, so it is what it is, but nonetheless, that's coming later in 2019. And lastly, the adventure game Unlucky 7 is also confirmed to be coming to the PlayStation 4. This is a very interesting game. In Unlucky 7, you'll have the ability to control different characters to complete the game. The game is played from a side view and has many interactive elements or items that are necessary to complete every mission. The key elements during the game are numerous dialogues and answers that the player chooses. Remember to choose wisely. Ellen's friends always remember to celebrate special occasions. Instead of attending Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, they go to a birthday party in a luxury motel. Unfortunately, the owner just ate a delicious human liver sausage and the appetite comes with eating. The party of their life becomes a party of their death. Experience the thrill of the adventure through the beautiful pixel realistic world where you are who you eat and your choices decide the fate of your friends. Meet the hidden goals and desires of each character and jeer as their plans are ruined. Unlucky 7 will take you on a spacewalk and tell you the story about love, hate, and craving for human flesh. It's a pretty interesting and wacky game. I kind of dig the visual style, even though it's nothing to write home about from a technical standpoint. It's pretty interesting in presentation with its pixel graphics. And I think this is one that could surprise a lot of people. It'll be coming to the PS4 sometime in 2020. However, the PC release is just around the corner. It will be dropping on August 30th. So ahead of the console release, we can look back and see how the PC version was received. And then you can go from there. If it was received well, you can pick it up. If not, maybe a game you're better off waiting on a sale for. But it does look to be a relatively interesting game. So I wanted to give that a mention as well. And that's going to conclude this video. Again, Persona 5 Royal's Western release window has finally been confirmed. It'll be coming sometime in spring 2020. Just adding to that pack lineup in early 2020, but very excited to see that game out here in the States. Dying Light 2's gameplay is going to be publicly revealed at the end of this month, and that is a game that is scheduled to be released in the first half of 2020 as well. Excited to see that one drop based on the quality of the first Dying Light. And again, Demon Pit, an arcade-style arena first-person shooter harkening back to 90s FPSs, will be out later this year, and the adventure game in Unlucky 7 out on PC later this month, but it will be coming to PlayStation 4 sometime in 2020. Looks to be a pretty interesting title, and I wanted to give that a mention. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.